All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Hassan Akram, and as promised, I'm doing my first podcast. And one of my amazing colleagues, she joined Motive last year, and her name is Anam Zorain. She has a great experience in terms of leadership, in terms of helping people, in terms of training and all that. But I don't want to waste further time. I want you to listen from her directly. So, thank you so much, Anam, for taking out some time for this show. Please introduce yourself to my audience and then we can start the podcast.
Great, great. Assalamu alaikum. I am really obliged for you to invite me here. I think this is a great platform where we can talk about customer success. I've been in the industry for almost 14 years now. I started my journey as a customer service representative myself. So I think I probably would be the right person to answer all the questions that you have here for me today. I worked around in different industries, which include SaaS, IT, lead generation, real estate, and hospitality as well. And I think given this opportunity, I'm really glad that all this experience that I gathered, I'll be able to share with a lot other CSMs around the world.
Very nice. Great. Thank you. Okay, and can you tell us about your schooling, your college, your university? Tell us about that.
All right. So I'm a bachelor's in engineering. A lot of people often ask me, being an electrical engineer, what are you doing in the CS world? But I think that all across the world, despite whatever industry it is, either it is engineering or even medical or even hospitality or real estate, customer success is applicable everywhere. That's why my core experience industry that I've chosen right now is SaaS. That's where I go with because a lot that I've learned from my engineering background comes in handy while I'm serving the customers from the IT industry. I've also done my MPhil in project management, and I am actually planning in near future to go for my PhD as well, and that would be for the leadership management.
Very nice. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm also a computer engineer from Barry University, and I'm really happy that I landed in customer success field because, I mean, even if you talk to real people in real world, again, you have to interact, you have to empathize, you have to show sympathy everywhere. So I think customer success comes in everywhere. So that's good to know. Okay, Anam, tell us about your journey of landing into customer success role.
All right, so since I mentioned that I started my journey as a customer service representative, and this was back in the days when I was actually doing my bachelor's as well, I wanted to go ahead and have a job of my own and start earning. And customer service roles were quite famous at that particular time. So here I am. I landed in the job, and with time, I evolved, became a trainer in the same field, and then became a people's leader. And today I'm here with you at Motive, taking care of the enterprise team of the customer success managers.
And how's the experience been so far at Motive?
All right, I don't know if I should say it out loud as well, but I have also worked with one of the biggest known names in the IT industry of US, which is Owens LLC. And prior to me working, I hope it doesn't get jinxed. Prior to me working here at Motive, I've always thought that particular place in terms of the customer, ethics and how value the customer gives, the organization gives to the customer, and also how keen it is towards the employees' growth. I think that was an organization which I always preferred. It was on top of list. Now it has moved to second since I have actually joined Motive.
Great, good to know, good to know. And how's the overall experience going with managing team of customer success for the enterprise role?
What I think is, yes, any people's leader role is not that easy. I've been in the management role for more than 8 years now, throughout the last 14 years of experience that I've had. And what you need to understand is that despite whatever industry you go or whatever segment it is, the expectation of serving the client needs to be balanced with expectation of serving the employees who are working with you. Only if you will have and you will
Interesting.
be able to go ahead and generate a growth mindset through their mind, they will be successful, they will be motivated, they'll be ambitious and enthusiastic, and only then they'll be able to go ahead and serve the customers right.
Interesting. I like that perspective. Very nice. Okay, what do you think are the key leadership qualities a great CS leader should have?
All right. So, throughout the time that I've evolved in the customer success world, this is what I came across. Now, there is a mindset that a customer success manager needs to have, but then on the other hand, there is a mindset that a people's leader for the customer success manager needs to have. A customer success manager needs to have a mindset where they need to understand that they align the goal of their customers along with the strategic goal of the business. So serving and providing the support to the customers is not only the key, but also understanding how it is adding more value to your business. On the other hand, when it comes to the expectations of the people leader for the customer success management, I think one of the biggest ability that a people's leader in this team needs to have is self-sufficiency. A self-sufficiency of bringing the solution to the table. That is a win for the customer, and then that is a win for a business as well. But on the other hand, having a mindset to make the successful customer success managers is the biggest quality that a people leader need to have in customer success management.
Right, nice, spot on. One question I have for you is like I've set myself as a leader, and my thought process is always to create my legacy and to create more leaders behind me. I want to understand your perspective of managing a team. So when you're managing a team, what is your biggest perspective or a future goal in terms of your employees who are working under you, under your supervision?
I think I love that question because I've compared myself, and this is not that I'm bragging about myself, but I've compared myself with other people leaders, and this is an opportunity that I've found. Often because of the business pressure or the revenue pressure, the customer success management segment it faces, they tie wrong expectations with their CSMs. And then that's a ripple effect. The CSMs, they tie the wrong expectations with their customers. The biggest mistake they would do is they would not make the timely communication and the correct communication with the customers. For example, let's say there was a business lag, or maybe there was an unfortunate event that happened, and maybe you were not able to go ahead and provide the right resolution to the customer as per his expectation. In today's world, a customer success manager takes himself under so much pressure that he loses that particular confidence despite how good of a CSM or a confident of a CSM they are. They would lose the confidence and they would not make the communication with the customer timely. But if you actually, go through the reality, the customer does not only need 1 plus 1 equals to 2, but the customer really wants to hear from you. Just like we as ASMs would actually fear a customer ghosting on us, put yourself in the customer's shoe. I am very sure that you and everybody else across the world who's in the CS world who are serving the customers are also the customers of some service provider somehow.
Correct.
Either it be our data network or whatsoever, right? And we put ourselves in their shoes, something that we do not like is not getting to hear from the service team. So I think this is very important. Set the right expectation. Let your CSMs know that they need to communicate timely, and then they need to communicate correctly. Second thing, which is very important, is feed this thing in your customer success manager's mind that you can go to your management, you can go to your leader, you can go to your peers, you can go to the table with a pile of all the problems, but something that is going to set you, out and make you stand out would be bringing the options of the resolution on the table for the customers. So this is something that I really want the leaders to work on, that they should build the confidence among their CSMs and teach them how to bring the solution on the table instead of dictating them what they need to tell to their customers. Because honestly, me being a people leader, it's not going to be often very much times that I'll actually get on a call with the customer myself, despite it's an escalation or where my CSM needs the support. But my CSM himself, if you look at the whole CSM word, it is customer success management and a customer success manager. So the CSM himself is the manager of those books or those accounts of the customer, not their people's leader. So they need to be given this particular, I think, environment to be creative and be thoughtful, process all the resolutions, bring them on the table, discuss it with their leadership, so that everybody as a team can actually align those propositions along with the strategic goals of the business and then present to the customer.
Very nice. I like that perspective. Great. Okay, next question for you, Anam, is how has the leadership in customer success has evolved over the years?
Now, I remember my first call when I was on the phone. So this is what I've learned throughout the journey in last 14 to 13 years. Back in the times, we were very reactive to listen to the customers. Often you would have seen this in so many trainings. Listening that means not only hearing, but listening means actually comprehending as well, right? So just giving this training, we built this thing in their mind that they need to just listen to the customer and then react according to the customer's need. An awful lot of sales training offer that as well. So I think how it has evolved right now is, if you go around, and even what we practice in Motive is that we are more proactive. We would not hesitate to get on a call with the customer to understand their business goals. So for future meetings, we do not only offer the reactive resolution, instead we have a proactive approach, and where we can show them how we can add value or partner with them making the strategy for their business. On the other hand, if you go back in the time, customer success's role was more of providing the support to the customer, which has now changed. Another factor that you would see, and this is a factor that is being worked on, and you will see it evolving throughout the time. The measure of customer success is now also heading towards being managed by the revenue, how a customer success manager can actually add value to a customer's business and then help them make more money and also retain those customers by doing that. So they're going to help the business make more money as well. And you would have witnessed that a lot of organizations and a lot of companies out there they have already started practicing. They're measuring the growth of their customer success through the expansions. They're measuring the customer success through their retention. So they're already tying the revenue. So somewhere in future, I think customer success has a very vital role to play when it comes to revenue.
Very nice. One question I have for you. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about this question. I thought I should ask you as well. Mostly, a customer success manager, when you're managing a team, uh, as an IC, a CSM has to do a lot of things. Sometimes they get overwhelmed, sometimes they get frustrated because of workload. How do you motivate them? How do you make sure that they are always motivated and giving best services to your customers?
All right, this is very much untheoretical and out of the books, and this is what I've learned through my experience. And it has worked for me
Right.
100% of times. And every time a CS leader would come to me and maybe talk to me about their resources, this is what I tell them. You have to switch places. You need to rewear and keep changing masks. By that, I'm going to deep dive into what I mean by that. So, composure is something that a CS leader really needs to go ahead and build in them. So, a few things, as in anybody who's in the middle tier management, he has to listen from the strategic leadership as well, trying to make sure that he is aligned with all the goals, but he also has to take the mood swings of the CSMs who are working under them, right? Correct. So something that you need to do is that you need to keep a composure. Do not let this composure out in front of either of the layers. Things that are supposed to be told, only tell that. Things which are supposed to be presented, only tell that. And often mistake any leader, either it be the CS world or any other, would be if you see your IC making a mistake, people would not hesitate to go ahead and note it down as his weakness. Instead, what we need to start doing is that always write it as the area or the opportunity of learning more. Take an ownership of training that particular person in that particular area. Help him. It will either be I can do or it would be I won't do. If it's I can do, it means the person lacks the training. He has never been exposed to that particular culture or that theory. Tell him, teach him, lead by example, maybe do it. Everybody has their own way. Some people can, learn through seeing the live demonstration. Some people can learn through just the notes. Some people are self-learners as well. They would make the strategy in their own minds as well. So this is what I would, really suggest. If as a people leader, Laura, it is important to keep the composure, the right composure, at the right place.
I love that answer, and now I understand and now realize why you're a good leader because you have a better understanding of
Oh,
how to
thank
motivate a
you.
team. I love the question.
Thank you.
Okay, next question for you is what is the biggest mistake you think companies are making while training their CSMs?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Spot on question, because everybody thinks, And how you know how important product knowledge is, right? You would agree to that as well. You and I have had these conversations numerously, and I know that you are one of the product guru in Motive as well who knows the product very well. Throughout my experience, something that I've learned, you can teach the product to a person, maybe he can have a master's degree in it, but until and unless an IC does not have a conviction about that particular product, he cannot present the right resolution. So the biggest training mistake that we are making throughout the industry is that you need to teach your CSMs not only the product and make them the master of the product, but also help them have the conviction around that product. They should know that my product is the best, it does the best. Only then he'll be able to go ahead and show the real value of that particular product to the customer.
That is spot on. It seems like you were speaking my mind because that's what I've been telling my team throughout the entire journey. So yeah, if you
I'm
can't,
glad. I'm glad.
if you're not excited yourself, how can you create that excitement in your adoption call? So spot on, spot on. Very nice.
Sure.
All right. How do you measure the effectiveness of training program in customer success? So we do have an enablement team in Motive, and you have been a trainer yourself. So what do you think is the measure of effectiveness of any training?
All right. A standard practice often that happens is that you would, if you would want to go ahead and measure the success of anything, you would tie it with numbers, and people often do. And even right now, all across the globe in different industries, we do that. We measure the success with the revenue of any segment, either the customer success management or sales or support. How I see, how I tie the success of customer success managers is with the engagement rate. Now, by the way, with the engagement rate, I do not mean that how engaged my CSMs are with the customers. It's the other way around. I would love to see how engaged my customers are with my CSMs. I don't have a problem, a customer bringing a problem or an escalation on the table, as long as they are talking and they are bringing the escalation. All what we need to know is either the sentiment is positive, negative, or neutral. Only then we can strategize on saving that particular business, right? In our books.
Right.
If in case a customer ghosts my CSM and my CSM has not been, and by saying all of this is not that I'm setting the wrong expectations. I've actually worked with great CSMs who I have seen that they have dealt with the most difficult customers and the demanding customers out there. And the engagement rate from the customer side is so high that my CSMs often complain that they just want to talk to us all the times, despite they'll only be bringing the problems on the table.
Very nice. Great, great. Last question in terms of training. So I want you to share an example of a training program which you have conducted and you see the significant impact of that training.
All right, so I have actually attended a lot of trainings, but this is not a training session that I'm talking about, which actually changed my perspective towards the customer service itself. While I was studying project management, this is something that I went through, that any single project, either it is, even if it's a customer, your customer itself is a project to you, right? If you see it as an individual.
Correct.
It involves so many things, and I'll tie it to how this ties to the success of your customer and your business's success, right? So project management teaches you about the resources, it teaches you about the time, at the same time it teaches you about the risks, at the same time it teaches you about the quality, at the same time it teaches you about the cost as well. Now these are five essential, I would say, five fundamentals on which any business would run. While your customer success manager would have an understanding of these five fundamentals, only then he'll be able to connect with the customer on their JSP or an EBR, where the customer would be talking about their goals, correct? Otherwise, if they do not have the composure to these five fundamentals, they'll probably not be able to translate what the customer is trying to achieve. And only after understanding what the customer is trying to achieve, the customer success manager will be able to go ahead and show him value through the products or the services that we are offering and how it can actually help the customer achieve their business goals.
Very nice. And also, I think while adding on whatever you have said is, a CSM should also be a very emotionally intelligent, because as a CSM, even as a leader, we encounter a lot of issues, escalations, internal, external. I think it's very important for us to be emotionally intelligent, because if you're not, then a lot of things can backfire. So I think it's high time we should, as a leader, should learn the art of emotional intelligence, and also we should teach this to our CSMs as well.
I
Spot
think
on.
I cannot agree
Okay.
anymore. You are
Next
so
question.
correct on that.
Yep. Yep. All right. Next question I have for you is: what's the toughest leadership challenge you've ever faced, and how did you
Oh
handle
God.
it?
Tell me about it. All right. So I would not categorically talk about one thing that I faced, but it's a common thing that I faced across different industries and different companies as well. So the top tier leadership, it is very their goal or vision or anything in their books or the SOPs you can see is we want to serve our customer with quality, having a good quantity, and we want to make sure we are the best in the world. And that's what they want to tell their managers, and that's what they feed in their managers to tell to their ICs that you need to be the best, make sure that you're standing on one leg, maybe just holding your breath and dying for your customer out there, right? Okay, I know that I went overboard, but by that, what I meant was that you need to tie the right expectations with the leadership to help them understand how it is all done. Things does not changing a customer sentiment does not happen overnight. Solving all the escalations is not something that happens overnight either. So the leadership might not be the project or the product owner itself, but the mid-tier management is, and they do understand what are the opportunities of doing better with our services that we are providing and what are these core strengths, correct? And everybody needs to understand that just like there are different type of customers, they're different human beings, they have different communication skills, they have different emotional intelligence. Equally like that are the ICs. They have different communication skills, come with different opportunities of getting better with their communication skills. So there are always going to be known and unknown risks. Again, risk management in project management is something that taught me. So the best you can do is on the side of making your team do better, note down all the risks and help them with providing the contingency. But again, set the right expectation with your leadership as well that this is what it's going to take us to be there. Just saying
Hmm.
it's going to be done overnight, this is something that we can do. Great. Now, you asked me a question earlier where you said that what would you like to teach your CSMs or something they should possess, where I said they need to communicate correctly and timely. So us as people leaders. And it's not that we are bound to communicate this to the ICs that we are leading, but also to set the right expectation with the senior management that what it's going to take to be there to go ahead and achieve our organization's goals, which says we are going to serve the customers right.
Very nice. I love your answers. Another random question just came to my mind. So, what is your leadership style?
I don't like to micromanage, that is all. Anything which is out of that world is my leadership style. I just do not like to micromanage. Yeah. So
Okay,
I
okay.
myself, this is something that an area of working for me, despite being in
Mm-hmm.
industry for 14 years, that where there's an opportunity of micromanagement, I do get a little uncomfortable. This is something that I am working on because some businesses and some segments do require you to micromanage as well.
Yeah.
So I would rather want to have a team of not highly intellectual but more creative people who can bring in valuable, I think, suggestions on the table, and then I can maybe help them tweak, do a little better where needed only. But yes, I don't like to micromanage.
Great. Neither do I. Okay. Another question. So, giving feedback to your CSMs and your one-ones, um, I think giving feedback is an art. As a Toastmaster, I've learned that I should always use the sandwich approach: good points, areas of improvement, and then close it with the good points. But I want to understand Anand's style of giving feedback to your CSMs. How do you motivate them? How do you give them feedback, making sure that their morale is good and they don't feel offended? Because as a leader, sometimes we have to give harsh feedback. So I want to understand your thought process and how do you give feedback to your CSMs?
That's an amazing question. I would actually love to answer this one very much. Just like I told you that I don't really like to micromanage, so the most difficult part for me has always been sharing the negative feedback or the criticism with the people that I worked with. And with time, I actually cracked a little hack of how to do it. So something that I think would need an assertiveness to work on, I would always document that. And then instead of criticizing an IC on you have not done it, I would rather follow up on that. And if you talk about my cadences, one-on-ones with my CSMs, I think there has never been a meeting where I would actually walk up to my IC and tell him, you have not done this. Everything that we talk about is what good they have done. And if in case they have missed out on anything, I think it is my duty to ask them that maybe did I fail to provide those resources to my ICs? Did I not tell them about the processes? Did I not walk them through the product updates? Did I not walk them through what are the organizational update or the strategic updates that we are having? So I've always, and this is important for every people's leader. So any people leader who's actually, or anybody who's actually looking to jump into the CS leader's role, I would tell them that leadership itself, yes, it's fancy, you have power, you're now a manager, everything looks cool. But the biggest part is that every single time you see a failure happening, look within yourself, where did you fail to enable your IC that he was not able to do this today?
Very nice perspective. Very nice. I love it. So you already answered my next question that was regarding a tip or advice to seize leadership who are stepping into leadership. So you already answered that. I'm going to skip that and then jump into the next question, which is what skills should aspiring CS leader start developing today? I mean, you did talk about certain stuff, but if you dig deep into more details, that'd be great.
So you're asking what skills they need to start developing. I think
Yeah.
in all these answers, I did touch base
Yeah.
on every now and then what is needed. But the CS leader, it's very important for you to understand that you put that mask on where you have customers within the organization that are sitting around. So your senior leadership is also your customer of a different type. You need to make sure how to set their expectation and what to communicate to them. Then the ICs that who are serving in your team are also your customers. You should deal them as your customers who you are serving to make sure that you enable them and they are successful. CS leader also needs to understand this thing that the customer retention is the most important part in the world of the CS, right? So train, teach, coach, enable your CSMs how to retain a customer. There is always a way. And while you're finding the resolution to the customer's problem, make sure that it is aligned with your company strategy. And then again,
Right.
composure, emotional intelligence, that is something required by a customer success leader.
100% agreed. Another question is regarding self-brand. I'm a big fan of self-brand, and I think self-branding is everywhere, be it you're an entrepreneur or you're doing a job or you are managing people. Self-brand is everywhere. So how do you make sure that you as a leader and your ICs uh, create some sort of self-brand and be successful?
Great. That's a great answer. I would actually talk about my journey here in Motive to answer that
Mm-hmm.
question. And when I joined Motive, I was actually hired for a very special set of, book of business, which Motive was initially not catering to in the customer success. And the first goal that I gave to myself was that I have to work and collaborate with my CSMs and teams in a way that we stand out. We stand out either in specialization, either it is a technical specialty, we stand out either in the skill set that we have to offer our customer success managers to the organization, and to some extent we are actually moving along that way. So
Nice, nice. Now I'm going to wrap up this podcast with some fun questions throwing your way. Um, by the way, what is the best leadership book or resource you can recommend to my audience?
So I'm not a book reader. I'll,
Okay.
just come out candidly, but I have actually read a few books. So every time I read a
Uh-huh.
book, I sign it for myself because it means that that book stands very special if I have read it because I'm not a reader at all. So one of the books that I actually read, it changed my perspective. Again, different people can have different taste in the leadership or motivation,
Mm-hmm.
theories and readings.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a very ambitious mindset and I have a growth mindset. That's what I believe in. I'm a self-motivator. So there's a book which goes by the 10x rule. I can actually, it's lying here. I can actually show you the book real quick.
Nice.
Not that I'm marketing, but this is the book. And it's been 6, 7 years since I gave it a read. You would actually see my notes here that I've actually tied on. Um, it's a great book. It's a great book to learn. I think I felt like I am a horse now. I need to go ahead, start running right after I finish the book. It is a self motivator. I would suggest everybody, despite whatever segment they are from, customer success, sales, support, whatever business they have, I would definitely recommend everybody to go ahead and read this book.
Very nice, spot on.
That's by
If
Grant
you give,
Cardone.
okay, good, good. If you give your younger self one piece of career advice, what
No.
would it be?
Career advice. Career advice. Yeah. Okay. I think,
To
well,
your younger self.
yeah, to my younger self, yes, be more emotional intelligent.
Okay,
Yeah,
you
calm yourself.
summarized, you know,
Don't be so
yeah,
reactive.
yeah.
Yeah, don't be so reactive. Everybody who's a freshie, who's getting into an industry, specifically, I'm a millennial, and Gen Z has this aura on another level that they're very reactive, they would want to, and there's nothing wrong or right in it. It's like how everybody's perspective is, but be less reactive and try to learn the industry around. Make sure that something that I really did good that I'm proud of is that I thought there is no stop to the learning. And that actually took me out of whatever I was lacking from career perspective or the work ethics perspective. But be more emotional intelligent, be more composed,
Mm.
um, stop, stay, think through, then react. Just do not react to every other thing that comes on the table. And this is to everybody from a perspective of entering a career. This is also from a perspective of a leader who's managing their IC. This is also from a perspective of somebody who's running his own business and he's trying to manage the teams and the resources. This is also for somebody who's running a business again and he wants to make sure that he serves the customers right.
I think that's a great advice, and I think composure and emotional intelligence, it comes with time, it comes with age as well. But you're spot on that we all need to be emotionally very intelligent, and instead of reacting, we should step back and
Think
reevaluate the
through.
situation and then respond back. Yeah, yeah,
True,
very
very
nice.
true.
Okay, thank you so much, Anam, for taking us the time to do this podcast. I want you to tell us how my listeners can connect with you on social media, especially LinkedIn. So if you can tell us about that.
Sure. So you can please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I go by Anam Zorain, ANAMZORAIN. And please drop your DMs, any questions that you want to have. I would love to go ahead and answer those for you.
Perfect. I'm also going to share your profile link, and I'm uploading this video on YouTube so listeners can connect with you afterwards. All right. Thank you so much, Anam. You have been
Definitely.
a great guest, and I think the first podcast went really well, and I'm looking forward for more guests in my podcast. So thank you so much, Anam, once again, and it was nice talking to you. Have a great day. Bye.
Likewise, likewise. I'm so thankful to you for having me invited to this podcast. I think I was able to go ahead and sometimes I think that there is a lot that I've learned and I really want to channel it out as much as I can. Known as a public speaker too, I love public speaking, and if I can go ahead and tell people what were the mistakes that I saw people making, organizations making, businesses making, and what were the mistakes that I myself made, and I can teach other people or coach other people accordingly. Again, that's the thing that everybody has a different personality, everybody has a different learning style. But thank you so much for having me, and I would glad to do it once more again with you all over again. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you once again. Bye.
All right. Bye.